20 facts about life you didn't know you needed. Life is a journey filled with twists and turns, moments of joy and seasons of struggle, mountains to climb and oceans to cross. It is never still. Even when we feel stuck or uncertain, life carries us forward in ways we may not recognize until much later. One day you may feel empty, wondering what could possibly bring fulfillment, and the next you might find yourself in perfect flow, creating something that defines your purpose. Yet what nobody tells us as children are the hidden truths of growing up, the quiet realizations that shape us over time and alter the way we see ourselves and others. These are the kinds of lessons that are rarely taught but deeply felt, the facts of life that you often discover only after living through them. One of the first truths you learn as an adult is that most people are afraid of their own imagination. As children, we treat creativity as natural, turning boxes into castles and sticks into swords. But as we grow older, many people disconnect from that playful spirit. They convince themselves they are not creative, and that imagination is childish. They prefer the familiar and the safe. Yet, imagination is the birthplace of innovation and discovery. Every invention, every work of art, every change in the world began in the mind of someone who dared to imagine something different. Reconnecting with imagination is, honestly, one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. Another realization comes when you begin to pursue your dreams. It's kind of a sobering fact that no one else will ever care about your dream the way you do. Others may show interest, support you in passing, or even cheer for you. But at the end of the day, your dream belongs only to you. That means you are the one who must guard it, nurture it, and push it into existence. Waiting for others to fuel your passion will always leave you disappointed. This realization is not meant to discourage but to empower. It reminds you that the weight of your dream is yours to carry, and that is exactly why it matters so deeply. As you walk through different stages of life, you also learn that friendships are rarely permanent. Most friends enter your life because of proximity or shared interests at that particular time. School friends, college friends, work friends, neighbors. Many of them drift away as your path changes. This does not mean those friendships lacked value. They were part of the journey for a reason. Another truth that often goes unnoticed is that your potential actually grows with age. Society tends to tell us that aging means slowing down, doing less, and shrinking into smaller ambitions. But the reality is the opposite. With every year you gain more knowledge, more experience, and more perspective. That should increase your capacity to do more, not less. Being great at anything is never about being born with talent. It's really the product of habits built over time. Age gives you the advantage of practice, of layering knowledge upon knowledge until, mastery becomes possible. And closely tied to this is the lesson that spontaneity feeds creativity. As children, spontaneity was just natural. Anything could happen at any moment, and we welcomed the surprise. But as adults, routine and predictability take over, and while discipline is important, living only within strict schedules robs us of discovery. The small decisions to be spontaneous, like taking a different route home, striking up an unexpected conversation, or trying something new, these are sparks that ignite creativity and remind us of the playfulness of life. With time, you also come to realize that many people lose touch with the simple value of human connection and sensory experience. When was the last time you stood in the rain without running for cover, or lay on the grass staring at the sky, or noticed the beauty of a weed breaking through a crack in the concrete? These childlike interactions with the world keep us grounded in the joy of being alive. Another fact that can feel disheartening is that most people do not spend their lives doing what they love. The majority settle for jobs that pay the bills but never ignite their hearts. It is easy to look around and assume this is the destiny of everyone, but that belief is a trap. The truth is, those who lived their dreams fought harder, sacrificed more, and refused to accept less. If you want to escape the fate of the masses, you must decide not to give in to resignation. Something else you begin to notice is that many people stop reading once formal education ends. Ask someone the last book they enjoyed and you will often hear them struggle to remember. You know, reading is honestly one of the simplest ways to expand your mind and fuel your imagination, yet, so many people just abandon it after school. But those who keep reading, well, they feed their inner growth long after their peers have gone stagnant. And you start to notice how often people talk more than they listen. Conversations they frequently turn into like these competitions of noise with two people just waiting impatiently to speak, rather than actually hearing each other. Real listening is honestly pretty rare, and those who actually practice it end up building deeper, more meaningful connections. Another surprising truth is that creativity isn't some magical gift, but really it's a muscle that needs exercise. Society tends to praise creative people, but you know it often discourages creativity unless it can be monetized. To remain creative, you must practice for its own sake. Drawing, writing, building, experimenting, these actions keep the creative muscle strong, and without them, it will atrophy. Success is another concept that shifts as you grow older. As children, we are taught to reach for success as if it were a single destination. In adulthood, you realize success means different things to different people. For one, it may mean wealth, for another freedom, for another peace of mind. The only definition that matters is the one you create for yourself. There is also the difficult truth that you cannot change your parents. They are who they are, shaped by their own experiences and choices. Whether they support you or not, you cannot mold them into what you wish. You know, the best you can do is love them for the life they gave you and release the rest. Another lesson that becomes clear is that the only person you truly have to face each morning is yourself. As a child or young adult, it often feels like the whole world must be pleased. But ultimately, the question is whether you can look in the mirror and respect the person staring back. That is what matters most. You also learn that nothing feels as good as something done from the heart. No amount of money, fame, or external validation can match the satisfaction of giving, creating, or loving purely out of passion. Following the heart always leads to deeper fulfillment than following applause. Your potential in life is directly tied to how well you know yourself. Those who explore their strengths, weaknesses, desires, and fears are able to create intentionally. Those who avoid that inner work drift through life by default, shaped by circumstances rather than choice. Over time, you see that doubters often return in unexpected ways. The classmate who teased you may later admire your success. The person who rejected you may circle back once they see your growth. It is a reminder that you should never focus on proving anyone wrong. Focus on building your path, and in time, even your doubters will notice. It also becomes clear that you are a reflection of the people you spend the most time with. Your closest 5 relationships shape your habits, your values, and your outlook. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, and over time, their qualities will become your own. Beliefs are also more flexible than most realize. They shift depending on your environment, your influences, and your aspirations. What you hold as truth today may evolve tomorrow. This does not mean beliefs are meaningless, but that they must serve your growth rather than confine it. Another lesson is that anything can become a vice. Habits are not inherently right or wrong, but when repeated unconsciously, they can control you. Awareness of your actions and the reasons behind them helps ensure that coping mechanisms do not turn into chains. Finally, you come to understand that your true purpose is to be yourself, fully and unapologetically. Life is not about becoming someone else's idea of success, it is about creating your own masterpiece. You are both the sculptor and the sculpture, the painter and the portrait. Growing up is realizing that the meaning of life is not hidden in some faraway place. It is found in the act of being entirely yourself in everything you do. These truths are not often told to children, but they shape the experience of adulthood. They remind us that life is not simply about survival, but about awareness, growth, and authenticity. The more you embrace them, the more magnificent the journey becomes.